True Seeker here. This video is sponsored by my tip jar. It is literally the only thing keeping this channel alive. If you'd like to be able to tip me a buck or two, please just click the link in the description below. And thank you to everybody that's already a supporter. You guys are the reason why this channel is staying alive. Thank you so much. Now moving forward, this is actually pretty disturbing. It says, internal FBI communications show damning evidence of political bias that may have affected the Russian collusion probe. Memos that the Justice Department has received show FBI counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok and his team pressing to keep the hurry the F up pressure on an attempt to expedite an investigation, John Solomon wrote in a piece for The Hill. Memos the FBI is now producing to the Department of Justice Inspector General and multiple Senate and House committees offer what sources involved in the production, review, or investigate describe to me as damning or troubling evidence. They show Strzok and his counterintelligence team rushing in the fall of 2016 to find derogatory information from informants or a pretext to accelerate the probe and get a surveillance warrant on figures tied to the future president. A letter written by former Trump foreign policy advisor Carter Page to then FBI Director James Comey gave Strzok the excuse he needed to pounce. At a minimum, the letter provides us a pretext to interview Strzok, wrote to lover and fellow agent Lisa Page on September 26, 2016. A Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court warrant followed along with nearly a year of surveillance of Page, who has not been accused of doing anything wrong. Memos now reveal how the FBI pressured the Justice Department to put a rush on obtaining Page's warrant. Strzok and Page also discussed getting then FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe to coax a high-ranking DOJ official to sign off on the warrant, Solomon wrote. At a minimum, that keeps the hurry the F up pressure on him, Strzok wrote in an email to Page on October 14, 2016, just weeks before the election day. Until all the interviews are completed by Congress and DOJ Inspector General later this year, we won't know why counterintelligence agents, who normally take a methodical approach to investigations, felt so much pressure days before the election on this case. Were they concerned about losing a chance to gather evidence at a critical moment? Or maybe, as some Republicans long have suspected, they wanted to impact the election. The Page warrant was finally obtained in October, and even after Trump's win in November, FBI agents kept up the drumbeat, trying to find negative information about someone who worked for the president-elect. More revelations are certain to occur as Congress reviews documents, Solomon noted in The Hill, adding that now irrefutable proof exists that agents sought to create pressure to get derogatory information and pretext to interview people close to a future president they didn't like. Clear evidence also exists that an investigation into still unproven collusion between a foreign power and a U.S. presidential candidate was driven less by secret information from Moscow and more by politically tainted media leaks, Solomon noted. And that means the dots between expression of political bias and official actions just got a little more connected, he concluded.
Will he or won't he? Embattled FBI agent Peter Strzok subpoenaed by 2 House committees to testify in public on Tuesday, but his lawyer has signaled he may not comply. This after Strzok testified behind closed doors for 11 hours last week over his alleged bias against President Trump during the 2016 campaign. And we should point out he led the Russia investigation on the Trump campaign and was on Mueller, the special counsel Mueller's team, until it was uncovered by the Inspector General.
It's definitely one hot potato, and I hope someone doesn't accidentally get Arkancided or something, because their whole entire investigation and everything's just crumbling right before everybody's eyes right now. And we already knew it was going to be like this. That's why I laughed when Mueller came out yesterday saying that he wants to expand the Russia probe. On what grounds do you have anymore? Some crazy, crazy stuff. But also in the news, there's another emotional, unhinged liberal who has heeded the call from Maxine Waters to attack Trump officials and supporters. This time it's an unhinged Democrat who was arrested for terror threats against the GOP candidate and his supporters, as well as President Trump and his supporters. The unstable man is Martin Astroff, and he was arrested after threatening to kill the supporters of Congressman Lee Zeldin and President Donald Trump. Astroff made his way to Zeldin's campaign headquarters and had a meltdown and nearly struck a campaign worker with his car. So congratulations, Maxine Waters. Your planning to hurt and attack Americans is actually working. I don't see how she's not getting charged for this, because she's literally hurting the blind sheeple to actually do this stuff, and then look, they're actually acting on it. Amazing how that works, isn't it? But it isn't just Maxine Waters, it's so many other celebrities.
A few years ago, ideas that we talked about were thought to be fringe ideas, radical ideas, extremist ideas. Those ideas are now mainstream.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
What's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women?
One way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy, so please bring on the recession.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I could just only imagine where all these crazy MK Ultra victims are getting their ideas from, right? They know exactly what they're doing. CNN knows it, all the mainstream knows it, all Hollywood knows it, the music industries know it. They know exactly what it is that they're doing. They know they have this power of influence that actually works with these sheep. And so I honestly don't see how this is no different than a cult leader that's trying to make people commit suicide. There should be something done about this. I mean, this is the exact stuff Soros is funding in all the other countries that he got kicked out of. And here, I see it happening here, left and right. I 100% believe in free thought, but I don't believe in brainwash and manipulation. I don't believe in MK Ultra. That is not free thought. That is simply mind control, and it's working. These sheep are buying it left and right. And I think this manipulation by all the media needs to seriously be investigated. Because they don't report the news anymore. The only thing that they want to say on those tubes now is stuff that causes people to be infuriated. They purposely keep adding fuel to the fire. And they won't talk about stuff like this. Skydance McMahon has become the first Hillary Clinton-era State Department official to plead guilty to child sex charges after being indicted by the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia for conspiring to produce child pornography and producing child pornography. 44-year-old Skydance McMahon of the U.S. State Department has been accused of trafficking children across the international border and making more than 1,000 sexually explicit images and videos of minors. A mother of Halifax, Canada, has also been charged in connection with the child sex case. According to investigators, the mother, who cannot be named to protect the identity of the child victims, was working with McMahon as part of an elite pedophile ring that was trafficking children across borders to be sold into sex slavery and child porn. According to local news reports, police have laid more than a dozen charges against 39-year-old women, including multiple counts of sexual assault, interference, exploitation, and making distribution and possessing child pornography. The woman is not seeking bail and will remain in custody until her next court appearance on July 26. According to the Department of Justice, McMahon was streaming scenes of child sex abuse to high-paying elites over Skype. It is believed that Mr. McMahon was abusing his position with the State Department to cover his child trafficking crimes, and investigators haven't ruled out further indictments of the State Department employees connected to the case. Outside of his work at the State Department, Skydance McMahon is an active member of the cosplay community and regularly dresses as a superhero to entertain children at comic book events. According to court documents, over at least a 2-year period, Skydance McMahon conspired with an adult in Canada to produce over 1,000 sexually explicit child images and videos of minor children in Canada. These images and videos were produced at the direction of McMahon using Skype and hidden cameras. McMahon distributed these images and video files to other users and consumers of child pornography by providing access to the files on his cloud storage services and also by directly sending the files to other users. In addition to the child pornography images and videos McMahon himself created, he also received and possessed thousands of images and videos of child pornography. During the time he committed these offenses, McMahon was a digital media administrator at the Foreign Services Institute of the U.S. Department of State in Arlington. He faces mandatory minimum of 15 years and a maximum penalty of 60 years in prison when sentenced on October 12th. Actual sentences for federal crimes are typically less than the maximum penalties. A federal district court judge will determine any sentence after taking into account the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. Stories popping up like this literally lets you know that Pizzagate was real and it was 100% supported by Hillary's squad. This is why they was able to get away with this for so long. It's because she was in power of all this. They made sure that they had every single person in position in every single place so they could get away with their crimes easily. It just makes you wonder how many kids were actually literally trafficked during her whole entire time as Secretary of State. This should also let you understand that Bush knew about this, and so did Obama. Because I guarantee the NSA knew all about this stuff. They seen it all. You're telling me not one NSA agent didn't see any of this? I don't buy that at all. Because not only was they spying on U.S. American citizens, but also all agencies across the whole entire world. So I know that they've seen every single bit of this. Them keeping silent on this stuff makes them just as guilty. And this shows you how deep the shadow really is embedded into all of this. But what do you guys think about all this? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace! Please subscribe to our channel, like our